Congressman, nice to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
And I noticed you have Abraham Lincoln on the wall, but also behind you, over your left shoulder, you have your Green Bay Packer helmet.
We are doing really well. We lost our running back, but we won 34-7 over a Buffalo, and we got Monday Night Football against the Bears.
All right, I'll let you do your mean joke.
All right, so I know you have these Viking sympathies because of Brett Favre, but you know what this is? It's a Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl ring.
All right, well, you got that out there.
The Vikings, it goes over well in Wisconsin.
It's good that you're not running for re-election in Minnesota. You just lost it. All right, now another fan you don't have, though, today is Vice President Biden. He was quite harsh in terms of your new pledge, you and your colleagues. What do you make of the fact that Vice President Biden's come out and basically making fun of your last-minute conversion?
We pledged to do things differently than this government we've got right now. And what's the point of having an alternative party if you don't put out alternatives? We don't think we should go on this borrowing and spending binge. We don't think we should be raising taxes on successful small businesses. We don't think we should be jamming bills through Congress that are 4,000 pages long that nobody's read. We don't agree with that. And so, sure, I understand why Joe Biden's opposed to that, because he's doing all the things we disagree with. So it's natural that we don't agree with each other.
Well, he's not the only one who disagrees. President Obama says just more of the same. Is it just more of the same?
We are not trying to reinvent this country, as I would argue the president is. We want to reclaim this country. And more of the same means we are trying to reconnect ourselves with those founding principles that made America so exceptional in the first place. The first thing we need to acknowledge as Republicans is the last time we were in the majority, we didn't do so well. We have to own up to that. We did too much spending. Well, we got the professional spenders in charge now, if you want to look at it. And so what we're basically saying is stop the spending binge, get jobs back in this economy, clean up Congress. These are the first steps we need to take to get this country back on track.
Have you figured out, though, like one of the things is that with taxes, the Bush tax cuts say you want to keep them for people who make more than $250,000 a year. And you've got other aspects to this pledge. Can you pay for it? How are you going to pay for your pledge?
So, first thing we need to do to improve our deficit situation is grow the economy and create jobs. Instead of having people go into unemployment, let's have them paying taxes by having jobs. Second thing we need to do is cut spending. Raising taxes defeats those objectives. Raising taxes slows down economic growth, produces joblessness. The CBO is telling us if we have these tax increases, we could lose 1.2 million jobs next year alone. So we should not be raising taxes at this moment. We should be cutting spending. The root cause of our problem up here is not that we don't have enough taxes, it's that we spend too much money. That's where we need to focus. That's our emphasis, and that's what is the key cornerstone of this pledge we've put out today.
All right, in terms of cutting spending, you're going to cut any services to seniors?
So what we've basically proposed is about $1.3 trillion in cuts. We rescind TARP, stop federal employee hiring, go back to prior levels of spending before we started this spending binge. We got to have a serious discussion with people in this country about these entitlement programs. And my point that I've been making all along is if we act now, seniors aren't going to be affected. I mean, the plan that I specifically put out myself, which is not the Republican plan, but my plan, doesn't affect anybody over the age of 55, pays off our debt, puts these very important programs on a path to solvency. If we don't act soon and stave off this debt crisis, then seniors will, in fact, have their benefits cut. We should prevent that from happening.
What do you consider an entitlement program? Is Social Security an entitlement program?
Well, if you want to technically get it, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are the big entitlement programs.
All right, let's talk about Social Security. People paid into Social Security. They don't see it as an entitlement program. They say, look, I spent them. I mean, I gave the government
I'm using budget nomenclature, so technically speaking, these are entitlement programs. You qualify, you turn 65, you get the benefit.
Well, but I mean, if you're going to cut the entitlement programs, if someone's been paying into Social Security for a number of years, is that person going to get cut?
So what I propose is don't cut these programs for people who are in and near retirement. But the problem is, for you and I, for those of us who are under the age of 54, these programs are going bankrupt. We've got to put them on a path towards solvency so there actually exists when we get there. The current law on Social Security proposes a 22% across-the-board benefit cut down the road for everybody. So what I've been proposing, don't cut these benefits for people who've already retired, who are close to retiring, who've organized their lives around these programs. Put them on a path to solvency for the future. And you know what? If we don't get serious about this budget problem we have, everything's going to get cut. We're going to have Greek-like austerity, cuts to current seniors, big tax increases that slows down our economy. Let's prevent that from happening. But unfortunately, that's the path that the president has put us on. That's the path that Nancy Pelosi has put us on. They didn't even do a budget this year, but the budget we're living under, last year's budget, doubles our debt in 5 years and triples it in 10 years. They are putting us on a path for economic ruin. We got to get off that path, and this pledge are the first steps we need to take in the right direction to getting this country back on track.
All right. One of the other aspects of the pledge is get rid of the National Health Care Program, which is just beginning to be rolled out, be implemented. Why is, in this pledge, why is there no banning of earmarks? I understand, I mean, earmarks really alienate a lot of Americans. I realize why some earmarks are effective in different emergencies.
Sure.
But a lot of earmarks is just to sort of pad members of Congress.
I've been going after earmarks since I got here.
Why isn't that in the pledge?
Because we already did it. The reason it's not in the pledge is the House Republicans already adopted the rules of a moratorium on earmarks.
So why not put it in just sort of to reaffirm it?
Well,
reaffirm it to the nation that
because
no more
we
earmarks.
already did it. So we didn't want to do things that we already did. We want to own up to the fact that we did spend too much money. We want to turn these things around. We've already done the earmark moratorium. Believe you me, if you think we're going to come back in and become big spenders again, then I'm joining another party. You know, that is just not who we are, and that's not who we're going to become, because we understand just the dire situation we have. And the good news, in my opinion, is I think Americans get this. People understand that the American idea, the American dream that we've all come to know and love, that we've grown up, that made us so exceptional, it's at risk. And so that is why we want to obviously try and take Congress back. But we've got to get serious and have an adult conversation in this country. Do we want that American dream, you know, that opportunity society with a safety net, or do we want to have a welfare state in this country? That is the decision that is coming to us in this and, yes, the next election. I think the American people are pretty clear about it. We owe it to our citizens, to our constituents, to give them a viable alternative of limited government and free enterprise. That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Congressman, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.